Little Red Apple Productions. From manuscript to motion, we represent the complete AI filmmaking engine, a professional-grade suite that bridges the gap between literary foundation and cinematic reality. Our visual identity, the neon book on anvil, perfectly captures this synergy, the weight of a great script forged with modern digital craftsmanship. Little Red Apple isn't a single-feature tool. It is an integrated pipeline designed to handle the multidisciplinary demands of scriptwriting, audio engineering, and post-production. For the contemporary creator, we offer a dark, tech-forward ecosystem where high-concept ideas are hammered into finished motion pictures. Today, creating studio-quality content requires navigating three massive barriers. First, there's access. Traditional gatekeepers have maintained control over the tools and resources needed for professional production. Second, there's unification. Creators must cobble together fragmented tools for story, sound, and visuals that rarely work together seamlessly. And third, there's scale. Hollywood studios function because they employ entire teams of specialists. A single creator attempting this workflow seems almost impossible without compromising on quality. These three barriers have kept studio-quality creation out of reach for most independent filmmakers and creators. But what if we could solve all three at once? Now let's talk about how we're actually building this. We've structured our approach around three interconnected layers: tool sets, platforms, and infrastructure. And here's what makes this different. We're not just creating films the way filmmakers always have. We're building the intelligence layer that sits between story and screen. Think about traditional production workflows. A director writes a script, an editor cuts it, a cinematographer interprets it visually, but there's always this translation gap. Human judgment bridging what's written to what's shot. Our system closes that gap. Where traditional tools stop at writing or editing, our platform interprets story itself as production data. We're converting narrative directly into visual, audio, and cinematic instructions. It's a fundamentally new kind of film production infrastructure. Meet the Architect, founded by William T. Braddock, Jr., a disabled U.S. military veteran, former Navy photographer, and systems architect who has spent his career understanding how complex systems work. His mission is ambitious: to redefine creation itself by integrating artificial intelligence across the entire production lifecycle. Rather than treating AI as an afterthought in post-production, Braddock envisions it as a foundational tool that prevents what he calls creative drift, that inevitable decay of vision and consistency that happens when a project passes through too many hands and stages. Based in Pulaski, Virginia, the Architect Studio combines design thinking, military precision, and creative innovation to ensure that from manuscript to motion, every frame serves the original intent. As the studio's guiding principle reminds us, commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. So we've been describing the Forge as though it were just another toolkit, but it isn't. What you're looking at is a complete operating system for cinema, architected in three integrated layers. At the foundation, Layer 1 uses pre-production intelligence to forge your characters, locations, and props directly from the manuscript. Layer 2 takes those forged elements and structures your entire production, building scenes, storyboards, and camera plans that are coherent and executable. And Layer 3 closes the loop, managing the video pipeline, sound design, and visual effects all the way to final output. This isn't incremental improvement on existing workflows. This is a fundamental re-architecture of how films get made, where every creative decision flows seamlessly from conception through completion. Now we move from ingestion to insight. This slide shows how Script AI Analyzer transforms raw manuscript data into quantifiable story health metrics. Notice the production readiness score of 78%, synthesized from structure, dialogue, and flow components. The system flags continuity errors, like the one in Scene 45, and tracks emotional pacing in real time. The story health score of 82% validates character syntax and world logic before a single frame renders. By converting subjective storytelling into objective, measurable metadata, we create a critical go, no-go gate. This prevents flawed narratives from reaching the render queue, where corrections become exponentially more expensive. In essence, we're quantifying story health so producers and writers can make data-driven decisions earlier in the pipeline. So how do we translate narrative into visual form? We've developed 3 core forging systems. First, the Character Forge uses psychological trait mapping, converting character psychology directly into physical form. Take Ilara Vance. Her high determination and resourcefulness scores mathematically necessitate specific reinforced leather designs and distinctive scar textures. Second, the Location Forge leverages data-driven environmental analytics. In District 12, an 8.410 urban density score automatically mandates our lighting setup, camera angles, and atmospheric treatment. Finally, the Props Forge treats every object as a physical entity to be engineered. The Lion's Claw, for instance, is configured at exactly 3.2 kilograms of bronze and steel with a precise age patina parameter to ensure it renders correctly in 4K. Together, these 3 systems forge the visual DNA of our narrative, turning story data into tangible, measurable design specifications. Now we arrive at the core of what makes SceneForge different. Rather than generating random images, it's designed to think like a film director. Notice the storyboard interface here. It's beat-driven, meaning every scene is anchored to an emotional moment in your story. You have precise control over framing, lens selection, depth of field, angle. You can lock character consistency across sequences and toggle assets, backgrounds, crowds, entire environments on the fly. The bottom line is simple but powerful. This is a director's brain made visible. It tracks emotional storytelling and camera logic. When you're in the manuscript to motion pipeline, that's everything. As we reach the final synthesis stage, 3 specialized production forces converge to transform our AI-generated assets into broadcast-ready cinema. The video pipeline orchestrates AI-assisted motion generation and neural rendering at 24.1 frames per second in 4K resolution, guided by our refined storyboards. Simultaneously, VFX Force applies sophisticated visual effects and compositing logic seamlessly across the render queue, while SoundForge generates a massive synchronized audio library of 31.50 gigabytes, complete with voice synthesis, dialogue consistency, Foley layers, and immersive ambient soundscapes. Our render queue demonstrates this parallel processing in action, with multiple shots advancing through the pipeline stages in real time. The preview window gives us constant 4K feedback, showing exactly where we stand in the conversion process. This is where Manuscript becomes motion, where every creative decision from our original concept flows through AI-augmented production systems to deliver final cinema. Now let's talk about the real problem we're solving. On the left, you see the state of creative tools today: fragmented, siloed, requiring constant manual export and import. Aesthetic decisions are subjective and drift over time, and each specialized task demands its own software subscription. It's expensive, it's tedious, and it breaks narrative continuity. The Forge OS on the right turns this on its head. Every module shares interconnected context instantly. Characters, voices, and environments are mathematically enforced across every scene. No drift, no manual matching, pure consistency. It's a closed-loop engine that gives individual creators studio-level capacity. And here's the bottom line. We convert narrative into visual, audio, and cinematic instructions natively. One story, one system, one creator, infinite production. Now let's talk about what makes this platform defensible. We call it the economic moat, a closed-loop engine built on three foundational principles. First, full-stack ownership means we control the entire pathway from manuscript to final output. Every element, story, character, props, location, visuals, sound, effects, lives within one integrated system. Second, our interconnected intelligence means these domains aren't siloed. Change your script, and the render queue updates automatically. Adjust a character's appearance, and the animation system adapts. This universal asset sharing creates a compound advantage. And third, this interconnection creates a natural switching cost. Once creators build their workflows here, they don't just lose access to files, they lose the collaborative intelligence they've cultivated. The system becomes indispensable. That's how you build a moat that keeps creators invested long-term. We've journeyed from manuscript to motion, and now we arrive at the filmmaker's pyramid, a framework for understanding what separates struggling creators from those who achieve true creative freedom. At the foundation, you need tools that work, systems that eliminate technical anxiety and ensure your production stays on track. Build on that solid ground, and you create creative belonging, the coherent worlds and compelling characters that make audiences believe in your universe. Layer in professional esteem through studio-quality visuals and rich soundscapes that command respect. And at the apex, self-actualization. One creator, one unified vision, brought to life entirely without gatekeepers. This pyramid shows us that modern filmmaking isn't about choosing between art and craft. It's about mastering both, from the technical foundation all the way to the creative freedom that lets you tell stories only you can tell. We've journeyed from the spark of an idea through research, character development, script writing, and visualization, now bringing it all together. Little Red Apple Productions represents something unprecedented. One unified vision, one integrated system, and the capacity for full production. We're not just a collection of tools. We're the infrastructure where story becomes cinema. By combining AI assistance with creative human expertise, we've built a complete ecosystem that transforms manuscripts into motion pictures, efficiently, cohesively, and at scale. This is the future of filmmaking.